Hello, welcome. My name is Jenny. Thanks so much for joining me for today. We're going to be covering the limbic brain. Yay! Give a little bit more information regarding the limbic brain instead of just mentioning that it's where our emotions and memories are stored. The information I'm going to be covering today will actually all be coming from the Essential Life book here, which I have referred to as our Essential Oil Bible. Lots of great information, not just about the oils, great information about the body systems, as well as recipes, blends, all sorts of great things, as well as conditions. So if you're interested in that resource, let me know. So to start off with the limbic brain, just to give you an idea, it is actually the primitive part of our brain. It's located at the center of both of the hemispheres of the brain. And it actually includes the amygdala, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, the olfactory cortex, as well as the thalamus. It's also responsible for so many different functions that are all done unconsciously. We're not even aware of it. So just to give you an idea, even at that, like if you consider that we don't develop the frontal cortex of our brain until the start to develop it until the age of 3. Before the age of 3, we've had lots of different learning that we weren't even aware of that is all being stored in that limbic brain. There are no words that can access the limbic brain, so that's where we work with like coloring or working with essential oils just to help to get into those spaces where those emotions and memories are stored. So I'll give you the idea of what limbic brain is actually responsible for. It regulates both our emotional lives and perceptions. The higher mental functions and thought processes such as learning, motivation, as well as formulating and storing memories. Controlling adrenaline and autonomic response. Regulates hormones and sexual response. Sensory perception, which is optical as well as olfactory, and of course motor function. So all of those things. The limbic system is responsible for the processes of intercellular communication that can affect how an individual responds to situations and sensory stimuli. It forms and stores memories about those situations and the resulting emotions. So when we go to experience that similar experience, we will actually then react based on the first time we experienced it. So this is why we need to get a hold of what's going on in the limbic brain, because stuff is happening without us knowing. The limbic system also works with the endocrine system to help regulate hormone production. It partners with the autonomic nervous system, so that's the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, and then the parasympathetic, which deals with the digestion and healing. It also works with the nucleus accumbens, which is the pleasure center of the brain that is involved in sexual arousal, as well as euphoric response to recreational drugs. So those are the main things that the limbic brain does. Quite a lot of things, eh? And again, all unconsciously. The amygdala part of the brain is actually the storehouse of the traumas and contains the densest concentration of neuropeptides. So this affects our cellular memory. Smell being the primary sense that unconsciously activates and affects the traumatic memories that are stored there. Your amygdala actually kind of acts like a watchdog, so it's checking out for danger and threats versus perceived threats. So for example, a saber-toothed tiger versus being late for work and your boss being mad at you. So once it recognizes the threat, it passes on its concerns to the hypothalamus whenever safety and security are at risk. And this will then set off that alarm of fight or flight response, which will then release the cortisol and the adrenaline hormone. So bottom line there, the emotional stress triggered the release of stress hormones. The hypothalamus, which is considered the control center of the brain, it converts mental thoughts and emotions into hundreds of different types of legions, which is a molecule. So it's an antibody, a hormone, it could be a drug, it could be an essential oil, anything that actually can bind to our cell receptors, and as well the neuropeptides. The emotions triggered by a perceived threat are powerful and initiate the release of specific messenger molecules, which will then attach to certain receptor sites of the cells and affect cell function. What the hypothalamus believes to be true, okay, so what it believes to be true will determine what the factory produces. Chemical production ensues. Neuropeptides affect our chemistry, and our chemistry affects our biology. So again, bottom line, emotions actually trigger cell activity. The hippocampus is specifically involved in storing memories as well as producing emotions. It works effectively at full capacity when it is producing new neurons as well as solid nerve connections that will help to assist in these key activities. What's super interesting is when an individual is experiencing stress, the blood flow actually changes to the hippocampus. And so in our later years, we can actually often experience about 20% loss in the connections of the hippocampus. And that can drastically affect our mood, as well as our memory. So other things that can actually be affecting, and we might, again, not have control over how we're feeling because of nerve connections. How are we to know? Anyway, so herein lies the sense of smell, okay? So the sense of smell is the more complex of the discerning senses. It's 10,000 times more powerful than your sense of taste. And aromas will have a direct and profound effect on the deepest levels of the body systems, the emotions, as well as the psyche. The sense of smell is the only one that's linked to the limbic brain. And so the response is instant. So are the effects on the mental, or the brain's mental and emotional responses, as well as the body chemistry. So what's interesting is that once we smell something, before the brain has even registered we've smelled something, we are having those changes in the emotion as well as the physiology. So new chemical reactions are being created once that essential oil has been introduced into the body. So here's the beauty of essential oils and the limbic health. So aromas are 100 to 10,000 times more concentrated and more potent than when it's in its solid form of a plant. Due to the unique ability to bypass the blood-brain barrier, the concentrated aromatic compounds and pure essential oils can actually provide significant benefits to help to improve the limbic brain. So in regards to scent, now there are two different types of ligands. There's the endogenous and the exogenous. The endogenous ones would be like serotonin, something that is produced within the body and has an effect on our emotions. And then exogenous would be something that is introduced to the body, could be a medication or an essential oil, and it will have the same effect. All of these are messenger molecules. They can come from a variety of sources, which I just mentioned, and they are received via the olfactory receptors, which are highly concentrated in the limbic brain. As well, what's very fascinating is recently they've been doing lots of different studies. They're finding olfactory nerves in our skin cells as well as every single one of the organs in our body. So it's absolutely fabulous. And many researchers agree, I personally believe this as well. Physical illnesses are often the result of emotional inflammatory response to trauma or negative experiences. What can begin as emotional inflammation can later become physical issues and disease. So although medical technology is not advanced enough to see them, memories, trauma, and painful emotions, they're all stored in the body and will eventually manifest as physical inflammations when the body's tissues follow suit. So this is part of what I believe. This is also what I teach. You may have heard me refer to the Chinese body clock, where we actually talk about the different times of the day where organs are regenerating and what those organs are, what emotions those organs are connected to. So for example, lungs are holding on to grief, liver's holding on to anger, our kidneys are holding on to worry and fear. So just different things along those lines. So when we're using the sense of smell, it can be used beneficially in healing efforts, as scents are experienced long before words and can create a neurological and physiological changes. So again, there's no speaking to the limbic brain. We have to do exercises like coloring or working with essential oils to actually activate and work on releasing any trauma that's stored in those spaces. Whether we're looking to relieve stress, stabilize our mood, improve sleep, eliminate pain, relieve nausea, or improve memory and energy levels, scents can actually help to change our nervous system biochemistry. Essential oils can facilitate a rapid response in the brain and the body to facilitate such a release. They're powerful biochemical agents for emotional balance, wellness, as well as toxic release, which can be paired or partnered with any holistic program or medically derived program. So that will help to create a successful approach to mental, emotional wellness. Essential oils are used, when the essential oils are used, the body's vibration is raised and its emotional frequencies are impacted, as is the capacity for emotional well-being. Each individual oil with its own diverse chemistry has the ability to be a tremendous multitasker in working on multiple areas of interest simultaneously. So what's great about working with essential oils, again, we're getting side benefits when we're working with this. So lots of different great benefits in there. In regards to using essential oils to choose your mood, emotional stress, whether acute or chronic, can have profound effects on the body, and a range of illnesses from headaches to digestive issues, lack of sleep, or heart disease, all can be a result of emotions such as grief, anxiety, and depression, all taking a toll on the immune system and other cells, tissues, and organs of the body. Moods are often perceived as having chosen us. Rather, what's happening is the chemical impact of our emotions and other exogenous ligands is the actual chooser of the moods. That's why we reach for certain foods, sugar, caffeine, or drug of choice, interact with certain people, do certain things, have certain behaviors. It's all because we're looking for that chemical hit. We are actually addicted to the chemical reactions that our unconscious thoughts are creating. So this is where we want to introduce something new to the brain. So healing emotional and rebalancing of moods is accomplished when a new stimulus is introduced to that same chain of command to the brain. The brain's response is determined by what aroma is introduced and the information it conveys. Traumatic memories stored in the amygdala can be released by utilizing the sense of smell and essential oils. The significance of any individual attachment to a past experience can be shifted, and then the amygdala can actually release that trauma of the memory. So that's what makes aromatherapy so magical. So there's lots of different things that all these amazing chemical constituents can do to help with calming, grounding, all that kind of stuff. Basically, in conclusion, one of the most fascinating things that essential oils can do is work for our emotional well-being. Again, I believe that our emotions and our beliefs are actually what then create blocks, energetic blocks, which then turn into physical ailments. And they're just messages for you to see what's going on within yourself. Essential oils are just another way that we can work with something to help us choose differently. If you're looking to choose your mood, if you're having difficulty with any kind of emotions that you're going through, whether it be needing to be woken up or maybe it's a physical pain, essential oils are definitely something that can work for you in a natural way. Again, the body heals itself. The body knows what it's doing. It just needs to be put back in order. We have programs that every single one of our cells has been programmed with, and when we introduce chemicals from emotions or all sorts of different things, we can actually adjust the program of those cells, and that's really start to function incorrectly. We can get that back by working on healing certain things, and some of that stuff again is so buried deep that we actually need something like an essential oil to access that information without us even realizing it. So lots of crazy information today. I'm going to keep it at that because my video camera probably won't let me go much longer. If you have questions about this, feel free to let me know. I know it was a lot of information and it's so important. So give me a shout. If you're ready to start trying these oils for your own health and well-being or your family's health and well-being, give me a shout so I can help you with any recommendations for any of the oils that might work best for you. And of course, to make sure you're purchasing in a way that is the best for you as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.